Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel that is DIY with Nkemzi Wemzi, or Nkemzi Wemzi for now. As usual, I am your host, that is Tumi Mahlangu. Thokozani abantu abadala for if there are any of you watching out there. Yes, so we are within Phakathi inside of the 21-day lockdown. So I just thought, I know this is a DIY channel, but I thought maybe I should just take this time, and we should all just take this time, maybe since while we're stuck inside, to just reflect on our goals, our hopes, our dreams. Are we in line with our mental health, our emotional well-being, our physical well-being, as well as our spiritual well-being, which is sometimes something we really do not pay all that much attention to, depending who you are. I'm just generalizing for today's purposes. So basically, I just thought, instead of maybe teaching you guys something today, I'll just focus maybe on spiritual aspect of our well-being, you know. So today I'd basically just like to discuss saints, guardian angels, as well as ancestors. I know it's a bit of a controversial topic, but you know, as to basically, are there any similarities, are there any differences? So for some of you, you may have your fixed beliefs, that is all good and well. For some of you, you're still finding yourselves, so this is just a perfect opportunity, especially with the information that I'm just going to put out today, for you to just sit down and maybe decide, like, am I leaning towards this, am I leaning towards that, like, where do I stand, where do I go from here? Because a lot of people are, for lack of a better term, spiritually confused, or they still don't have their own spiritual homes. So hence the background. I know it's a controversial topic, but I will not be delving into too much detail. I'm just keeping it very superficial, yes, just as a way to just allow you to start a spiritual conversation with yourself, with your family, with loved ones, friends, or whatever the case may be. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today: guardian angels, saints, as well as ancestors. Are there any similarities? Are there any differences?
This is exactly what I've been waiting for. This is exactly, I don't mean to sound like Cat Williams, but this is exactly what I've been waiting for.
Okay, just for a bit of background, because Lerata Ditaba, I grew up, I'd like to use the term dualism, okay? I grew up in a family where we dabble in a bit of both. I am a Catholic, born and bred, but it was just that thing of whenever African spirituality is needed, or there are, I could say, rites of passage or mqimbis that we need to do, we just do it, we get it over and done with. We carry on with our normal lives. So that's just how I was raised. If I were to, like, bump kids out right here, right now, that's probably the modus operandi that I know that I will constantly live by. There are others who are just accustomed to Western way of practicing, or religion, or spirituality. There are others who prefer African spirituality, and then you get Abotumi, who are just like a bit of both. Okay, so that's context number one. I hope I just got that out there in the clear for all of you. Good. So, ladies and gentlemen, by definition, a guardian angel is basically an entity that is assigned to protect and guard, be it an individual, a group of people, a kingdom, or a country. Whereas an ancestor, by definition, Sekhowa, is someone from which someone descends. I think that's as clear as daylight. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that definition in mind, ancestors are not all good. Yes, like I said, it's someone that one descends from, but they're not all good. Others were evil. We all know we've had like ratchet uncles and aunts who have now passed away and now have become spirits or idlozi type of situation. Not all dlozis are good. There are evil people that I'd say we've all had in our families. So let's say if we were to have like a rite, or we had to sacrifice or perform a ritual in the house, those type of ancestors, they will not be cursed or pushed aside, but they will not necessarily be a central figure that will be, I would say, called upon when sacrifices are being made for obvious reasons. Neba sile, nebali, evil. So guardian angels, like we had mentioned before, ladies and gentlemen, are entities that are assigned to protect or guide an individual, a group, a kingdom, or a country. So basically guardian angels are very prominent in a lot of, I would say, beliefs or religions, so such as in Christianity and Islam, as well as with Zoroastrians. So Zoroastrians basically believe that guardians used to patrol the heavens, like the borders of heaven, and then they basically volunteered to come down to earth to take care of a particular individual, walk with them and guide them until the end of days. So basically right now I'd just like to share something with you guys that is from a Catholic source. Like I mentioned 100 times by now that I am born and bred a Catholic. So basically this chapter is basically saying to us as Catholics, but yeah, just pay attention. So basically it's saying the saints in heaven are our ancestors in faith. So the saints in heaven are our ancestors in faith. During their lives on earth, they loved Christ and have already reached their heavenly home. We remember the names of some saints, for instance, Saint Peter, Saint Teresa, Saint Francis, Saint Elizabeth, Saint Badita, Saint Catherine, etc., etc. They are like a cloud of witnesses who surround us and protect us. So that passage is found in Hebrews chapter 12 verse 1. Hebrews chapter 12 verse 1. So every year on the 1st of September, we as Catholics basically celebrate the Feast of All Saints. And on this feast, we remember all canonized saints and all the countless other saints whose names are not known, including members of our own families. This source also goes on to say that Saint John had a vision of all saints in heaven. So we read in the Bible, I had a vision of great multitude, which no one could count, from every nation, every race, every people, and every tongue. They stood before the throne and the Lamb. So I think that's Revelations chapter 7 verse 9. So we call on these saints basically before the throne of God and ask them to pray for us. So some people also argue that dead people cannot hear us, but Paul tells us that whether we live or die, we belong to the Lord. So that is Romans chapter 4 verse 8. The source basically goes on to explain how we as Catholics remain in contact with our dead. So you remember on November the 1st, like I mentioned before, that is All Saints Day. So on the following day, being the 2nd of November, we as Catholics remember our dead and visit their graves. We sprinkle holy water on the graves, light a candle, and pray for our dead. We pray for our dead people because they may still belong to the poor souls who are in purgatory. So purgatory basically means final purification for heaven. So for those who don't know purgatory, I don't know if you watch Supernatural, love, show that slaps, please do watch it. But purgatory is basically like a middle point between heaven and hell. You're not at the feast, but you're not burning as well. So you're just there wandering around. Sometimes it would be with African spirituality, like mhlawumbe loved ones that basically weren't cleansed before they went to their last resting place, or even instances like they died in an awful matter, or we never found their bodies, so their souls are not per se like resting with everyone else. So in that sense, then the English term would then be purgatory. We need to also bear in mind that the word, or the word guardian basically means messenger. So what would then be the purpose of guardian angels, you're wondering? So they are, like I mentioned before, entities that protect us. They fend us from evil spirits. We call on them when we are afraid, when we are in trouble. We call on them to protect us before we start our day, during the day, or as we lie in bed, when we hope for something that is maybe beyond, or we feel that is beyond our human capabilities. That's when, for most people, I'd like to take it that we call on our guardian angels, that is messengers. So for most I'd say Christians, we do believe that we are guarded by angels, i.e. guardian angels, who are always in contact with God, and then their sole purpose also is to defend us as well as guide us. We trust in them. We hope that they fend for us, they protect us, as I'd mentioned before, and they give us a sense of security, in that we are strong with them, and we need not be afraid of evil spirits or dark forces, provided that they're always, or knowing that they're always with us at all times. Okay, so basically this chapter just says, see that you never despise one of these little ones, for I tell you, the angels in heaven are continually in the presence of my Father and in heaven. Like I mentioned before, Matthew 18 verse 10. This is also my biggest confusion with my people, that you don't have a problem with believing in a Saint Nicholas, as Father Christmas, as Saint Victoria and Saint Elizabeth, but it's hard for you to fathom that Malume Jacobo from Elisrase loved you so much that when he passed away, he wanted to continue to protect and guide you. You know, how do you struggle wrapping your head around ancestors, that people of your bloodline want the best for you because you are, in a sense, family, you descended from them? That is, I think, my biggest struggle with this entire situation.
Security! Security! Security!
It's at this particular moment you're probably asking yourself, Dumi, why do you keep going on and on about guardian angels as well as ancestors? As you would have started with this video properly, I started off giving you guys definitions. For those that believe in Western spirituality, I gave you some chapters that you can read up on. I extrapolated some information from Catholic sources. You need not believe in it because you may go to a church of your own choosing. I also gave you just a brief background on ancestors. This is where, in my opinion, the main differences lie. I think our differences in Western and African spirituality is the means of communication. So in Western spirituality, they have like their own, I would say, rites, for lack of a better word. They have their own rites or forms of communication in which they call upon their guardian angels. They may use crystals. Other countries, if I can put it that way, take to the wearing of costumes, such as in Halloween, just to celebrate they did, or venerate they did. It's also the use of like candles, herbs for some people, incense for lack of a better word. They also go to cemeteries, they'll put flowers on the graves of their loved ones and just speak to their loved ones. Whereas in African spirituality, the same gets practiced where you visit the graves, or the graves of our loved ones, the use of blood, as well as incense, candles, as well as snuff, as a way to communicate with our ancestors / guardian angels. So I think, in my opinion, that's where the great differences are. The manner in which we communicate with our guardian angels in terms of Western spirituality, as well as with Eastern African spirituality, excuse me. Now, with the differences is where I'd like to drag each and every one of you. I think there's a I know, especially people that come from happy clappy churches, you know who you are, who feel as though or in their opinion, ancestors are demons. So by definition, ancestors are people from which you descend. So according to you, if your ancestors are demons, meaning wena o ingi sesi, o ingi obuti uli demoninyana. That is basically what you are saying. And then from there, there's a common misconception that people worship ancestors. Let me tell you, bo sweetheart, if you guys don't know, especially when it comes to traditional healers are the biggest Christians you will ever find. That's first thing first, for those of you who do not know. Ancestors are not God. For most of us, we believe in one true God. Ancestors are just messengers. The same way the word angel means messengers. They are messengers of God. They get messages from God. The same way some of you have prophets in your churches. So what I'm saying to say is, there's a very common misconception that people worship ancestors. There's no such thing. People who believe in African spirituality believe that there is a higher being. That higher being is like a higher being, more superior to ancestors. Ancestors get an instruction from a higher being. So what are they in sense? Ancestors are messengers of the supreme being. For most people, the supreme being God or Allah or whatsoever. The same way angels, guardian angels, are messengers of the Lord. What I'm trying to basically say or get across to a lot of people who cannot comprehend this, guardian angels and ancestors are pretty much one in the same thing. They have a common purpose, which is to protect and to guide whoever they are walking with. And for most of us, that would be that everyone has an angel or an ancestor, or maybe a couple of ancestors that are assigned to you to protect and guide you till the end of your days. But both of them receive a memo, le past paper, le future papers, from who? A supreme being. So if I had to draw a pyramid scheme for you, get up God, get guardians / angels, and then there's the rest of us. That's the common misconception that I would like to clarify today for some of you who believe that people who believe in ancestors are into demon worship. I don't know which tree you come from. I hope you heal. Okay, that's first things first. Secondly, what was the other drag? Oh, that is with traditional healers or baprofeta, people of Stunya, disangoma, basically. So with them, guys, it's the same as having like your prophesiers, if I can put it, that you have in church. All of these people, what do they have in common? They just have the ability to speak or access, for lack of a better term, the other world, that spiritual dimension, or they have a heightened ability to get to that other dimension. Why? To send messages across, to heal people, to give people advice, to build people, especially if that's essentially the entire purpose of either prophets in the church or disangoma or baprofeta. What they are, just messengers. Because a lot of you, when bad things happen to this specific group of people that I'm talking to you about being disangoma, nyangas, baprofeta, a type of situation, when something bad happens to them, oh, how does a sangoma die? Or how do they fall into trouble? Guys, you need to remember something, and that's what you guys cannot comprehend. These people are not God at the end of the day. No one said disangoma kibo God, or the prophets we find in the church kibo God. We are all humans at the end of the day. It's just that this category of humans just has a heightened ability to get to the other side. Can we all get that through our thick skulls? Well, you see, sir, that's what I'm not. I don't understand what people don't comprehend, because we are so stuck on finding differences amongst one another without acknowledging our similarities, which is all, can't we get along? Let's all heal one another. Let's give messages across of hope, of love, of building homes and marriages and careers and blah 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 blah. None of these people are God. Guardian angels aren't God. Ancestors are not God. There's only one supreme being. If you're an atheist, that's also great. I hope you're enjoying this topic of discussion. So I think that was my drag. I think I'm done with my drag. And my chat, basically, in summary, is there are people who have a heightened ability to get to the other side. Well, this is the category of people. Our guardian angels and our ancestors are one and the same thing. It's just between Western spirituality and African spirituality, our forms of communication is not the same. That's, I think, more than anything, that is basically it. That is the greatest difference between the two forms of spirituality. The means of communication is not the same, ladies and gentlemen, but we are all believing in a one true God. We are all believing in that there are messengers, that there are people that walk with us, that guide and protect us, and that we can call on when we are afraid or in trouble. So I think the moral of my story today is, ladies and gentlemen, can't we all just get along? Like, it's not that deep. So I hope you enjoyed my little discussion for today. Please like, subscribe, leave comments, drag me, I don't care. I hope it brings about conversations with yourself, with family, with friends. I don't know, but yes, I hope with what I said, it makes sense for everyone. I think as well, can we all just respect each other's beliefs, whether you are pro-Western, you are pro-African, or you just smash the two nicely together. Whatever you do, as long as you're happy to me, as long as you're not bothering anyone, let's just be respectful to one another. Let's all love one another. Let's just all get along. I hope you do. I hope you enjoyed today's topic. Yes, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you so much for tuning into my YouTube channel that is DIY with Nkemzi Wemzi, and I will see you guys very, very, very soon. Thanks again for watching. All the best. Bye.